also today we have a guest from France, Université de Vry, Monique Charbon, bien connu par ses travaux. I'm sorry. Very well known for works as models of defaults.
Thank you. So I just would like to point first to thank you for the invitation. This is my first visit to the school and I'm very happy to be here. And I would like also to make precise where is every university, because it's not a well-known university. This is located in the suburbs of Paris, south, 20 kilometers from Paris, close to Orly Airport, if you know Orly Airport. So I have to mention at the starting point of my talk that my team is financial support for Fédération Bancaire Française. And this is a joint work with many people. Anna Samit is one of my PhD students. She will defend the thesis beginning of June. Tahir Chouli is a professor in Alberta University, Canada. Wondeg is a student of Paris. Claudio Fontana is a postdoc student in Evry. Thorsten Schmidt is a professor in Chemnitz in Germany. And Shigi Song is a colleague of mine, a professor in Evry also. And the goal is to try to understand better, it's not a full understanding, what can happen if you have more information than somebody else. So I should give just example, I cannot do a full theory. So the market has some information, the market defines prices with no arbitrage opportunities, of course. And you are somebody who knows a little bit more than the filtration of the prices. You have more information than the information which is contained in the prices. And in some cases, of course, you have the opportunity to maybe to make arbitrages, or even if you do not make arbitrages, since you have more information, you will have a larger class of strategies. And if you have a larger class of strategies, your wealth will be greater than the one who has just a smaller class of strategies. So I would like to investigate some examples to say what can be done. And the interesting thing is that I think we would like to avoid arbitrages. So the wealth optimization problem will have a solution, final solution. And I just try to understand what is hidden in the information. So, a quotation about Eliot, about time, present, and future. Not very interesting, but I like it. And I shall start with an example. I call it toy example. It's not so simple, in fact, but this is the first example I found. And this is a credit risk setting. So there are two defaults. And just toy model, because I don't have a lot of information, I do not have Brownian motion and things like that. I just have two default times. So two default times are two random times. That time to 1, something will happen. That time to 2, something else will happen. Of course, to 1 and to 2 will be correlated. Otherwise, there is no interest. My model is empty. So I have to 1 and to 2. These two default times. To 1 is the default of the firm number 1. To 2 is the default of the firm number 2. And I'm interested with to 1 is the basic default. So I should call F, because F is the reference filtration. The filtration generated by the indicator function of to 1. So it means that if you have the information contained in the filtration F, you know when to 1 occurs. And we should assume that everybody knows that, so there is a clock. The clock will ring at time to 1, and everybody can hear the clock. And there is to 2. To 2 is another default. Maybe it's a smaller company, maybe. And only Yuri knows the default time to 2. So Yuri is better here than me. So Yuri will hear the time to 2, and all of us will do not hear this time to 2. Louis knows a lot of things, so he has some information about that firm to 2, maybe this is a firm who is selling paintings, and we do not know because we don't have the knowledge of Urey. So, and so for Urey, the filtration, the information of Urey is described by the filtration G, which is the smallest filtration, continuous of height, which contains always the information of the one and the information of the two. Okay? So, I should assume that I know, everybody knows the law of the 1 to 2, because you see something deterministic, and deterministic things are known by everybody. So I know the joint law of the 1 and the 2, and I take the survival law because it's easier to do computation. It doesn't matter. I assume that this survival law is very smooth, C2, and so on. And the market maker has to give a price of a defaultable zero coupon, that is to give the price of the payoff, which is 1 if defaulter 1 does not occur before maturity, capital T, and 0 otherwise. So this is done by the market maker. Everybody will know that price, and the market maker does the price as usual. He takes the conditional expectation of the payoff, given the information. I take null interest rate because I am not interested with the whole of the interest rate, and I just have to compute under the pricing measure chosen by the market maker this probability of tau 1 greater than capital T, the indicator of tau 1 greater than capital T is the payoff, given the information that everybody has, that is that information I call FT. So it's easy computation, you do the computation, you find some ratio, and this is the price, and you can buy this defaultable zero coupon for that price. So now I shall take the role of Urey, and Urey knows something that I don't know and you don't know. So I know that M1T is this thing, and we know how to compute the compensator of HT. HT is the indicator function of tau 1. And we know how to compute the compensator. This is a traditional example of computation of the compensator. I took here tau 1 with an exponential law just to make the computation as simple as possible. So more or less, the HT, and HT is that one, up to tau 1. So HT is more or less a Poisson process stopped after the first jump. The intensity of the Poisson process is lambda, so the intensity of the Poisson process stopped after the first jump is T infimum tau 1. So we know, all of us, that this M1T is a PF Martingale. But Urey has a better knowledge because Urey knows about tau 2, and of course I told you at the beginning, tau 2 is correlated, is not independent of tau 1. So maybe the knowledge of tau 2 is a big advantage. And just think as a basic example, tau 1 equals tau 2 plus 10. So Urey knows when tau 2 occurs, so we will know that 10 days later, tau 1 will occur. So it's an advantage. So in full generality, assuming that the G is twice differentiable, Urey can compute the intensity of tau 1 in its own expression, and the intensity will be fully different. And the intensity compensator will be lambda to T with lambda to T, so you can compute it explicitly. So now I should invest, we should invest in the market, trying to do our best, and Urey will invest in the same market, but with a different information. So the market is a very simple market, interest rate 0, so the savings account is flat, and this defaultable claim with price P, and the dynamic of the price, just have to differentiate the price. I computed the price as that. Now, since I have assumed that tau 1 is an exponential law, I found that the price is indicator function and e to the power minus lambda capital T minus P, and I can differentiate this quantity in order to see where are sitting the Martingales. Of course, P is a Martingale, because I computed the price under the historical risk neutral probability measure. And the dynamic for us, the dynamic of the path is that one. And with M1, which is a martingale in our filtration. And I would like to solve the logarithm, to optimize the logarithm of the terminal wells using two kinds of strategies. Our strategies, which belongs to F, which are F adapted, and for Uri is clever again. He can use strategies which are G adapted. G is the filtration of Uri, the larger filtration. And I have set my attention to non-negative portfolio, to positive portfolio. So the dxt will be the number of shares times the price, the derivative of the price. And instead of the number of shares, I'm looking at the fraction of wealth. So just a different parameterization. It's xt minus here because m is a jump. So I have to take care about the jump. So I have the full expression of x. X is that one. For you and for Uri. But for you, for us, M1 is a martingale. For Uri, M1 is not a martingale. So I write the value of the wealth, and I write the value of the logarithm of the wealth. And this blue line is the same for Uri and for us. And because in the blue line, I have written the blue line without mentioning who are the martingales. And the blue line is just a bounded variation process. This is the same for us and for you. So now, we have nothing to do because A was the pricing measure. So we are doing maximization problem under the equivalent martingale property. And it's well known that in that case, this is a risk neutral probability. So you invest only in the savings account. And for all of us, the supremum of the expectation of the logarithm of the terminal wealth is logarithm of x. And the pi star is 0. For Uri, it's different. So I have the same dynamics for the logarithm of xt. If I look to the logarithm of xt as a bounded variation process, and Uri will take care about its martingale and the intensity. So the second equality is just the definition of M2. And you remember, for Uri, M2 is a martingale. So the expectation of the logarithm of x for Uri is the logarithm of small x. Assume that this thing is a knife, okay? Is a martingale and not a local martingale. So the expectation of the logarithm for Uri is that quantity. Only these two remaining terms. So for Uri, the optimal portfolio is that one. Pi, so that one over pi is lambda 2, the intensity of Uri, over lambda, our intensity. And the maximum of the wealth of Uri is our maximum wealth plus another quantity, which of course is non-negative. So Uri has a better wealth return in that sense to our wealth. So it can really use the same market, but he is using a different set of strategies. So now I should do something more, I would say classical, and usually people don't want too much with jobs. I should look at what happened in a Brownian setting. We can generalize, but not so much because there are some difficulties. I should explain. So my setting will be the following. F will be the filtration generated by the Brownian motion. It's important that this filtration, in that filtration, all martingales are continuous. And in the computation is very important. So if you have in mind to extend a little bit that framework, it is doable, but the jumps are really a main problem. And G is a filtration larger than F. For the moment, I don't make any hypothesis. I should make hypothesis very soon. I just present the setting. And I assume that W is a semi-martingale in the enlarged filtration, in the filtration G. I need to make this assumption, otherwise I can end my talk. And otherwise it will mean that prices in the F filtration, our prices, are no more the Uri prices, are Uri prices, but for Uri they are not semi-martingales, and if prices are not semi-martingales, we have arbitrage opportunities. So I want to escape to arbitrage opportunities. So I assume this is true. Of course, I have to give examples in order that this theory is not empty. I have a lot of examples. For the moment, I don't say anything. And I assume again that I have a financial market with a savings account equal to 1. Again, I don't want to take care about the interest rate, it's not my problem. And a risky asset S, and again, to be as simple as possible, I should start with an asset which is a martingale under the probability I am taking into account. That is, I'm working under the risk neutral probability. And I assume that. And I do the same computation as before. I'm looking at the Wells process. So the Wells process is pi x dw, and which pi is a fraction of wealth invested in the risky asset. I do not have anymore the t minus because here everybody is continuous. So this is our dynamic for our wealth. And for URI, we again is able to use strategies which are G predictable. For URI, this is the wealth. And here you have to take care if you are not, if this is the first time that you see something about enlargement of filtration, and you see that you have here a problem, not a problem, a difficulty. Pi is not adapted with respect to W. Pi can be adapted with respect to the larger filtration. So here you have to define the integral of pi dw. And I can do that because I made the nice assumption, and W is a semi-martingale in the L filtration. And W is Wg plus Ug dt, Wg is the G Brownian motion. So this has a meaning, except that this quantity is no more a martingale. This is this part is a Wg, which is a martingale. So I can derive the weights. And the optimal portfolio for URI, again, I'm looking with the logarithm of x. The optimal portfolio is mu star equal mu, pi star equal mu, that's just a second polynomial of second order. And the wealth of URI will be our wealth, again, for us, we are working under the risk neutral probability, so to do optimization problem under risk neutral probability, just to do nothing. And this drifter, so I will be interested with this drifter, which is positive, and it must be, because the wealth of URI is greater than our wealth, and at least in expectation. And if I have that condition, our wealth will be smaller strictly than the wealth of URI, as soon as mu is not equal to 0. This is a not nice condition, because I do not have condition on G so that this quantity is finite. I have many examples, this quantity is not finite. So, I would just point out something about arbitrages. So DST, the DS in the information of URI is something, the S sigma, dW plus mu dt. So, in our filtration, we are arbitrage free, because S is a martingale. In the filtration of URI, to be arbitrage free, he has to prove that maybe we would like to have arbitrages. If there are no arbitrages in the URI filtration, I need to change the measure to find the risk neutral probability measure for URI. So this is a drift Brownian motion. So I take the Grandian exponential of mu, the integral of mu with respect to W. If this quantity is a G martingale, there is no freelance Lubin-Sinnig risk, even if the wealth of URI will be greater than our wealth. If this process L is only a local martingale, and this is characterized in the literature, but the fact that there are no arbitrages of the first kind. And I have recalled here what are arbitrages of the first kind. So the difference is that if you have a model of prices, if you can find an equivalent martingale measure, there is no freelance Lubin-Sinnig risk. If you can find the local martingale such that L times S is a martingale under the probability you are working with, It is characterized by the fact that there is no arbitrariness of the first kind, or no unbounded profit with bounded risk. So the arbitrariness of the first kind are some random variables which are non-negative, such that you can, with a strictly positive initial wealth, you can find a portfolio, admissible of course, so that the terminal value of the portfolio is greater than this random variable. And this is well studied in the literature. So, I should give some examples. The first one is nice because it's easy. I don't have to bother me with this kind of arbitrages. I take the case where I should enlarge the filtration. I should look at GT will be FT supremum HT, and HT is the filtration generated by this kind of process. So tau is given. Should look at that kind of thing, and also at that kind of enlargement. So they are different. The first one, Yuri does not know in advance when tau will occur, because there will be the clock that he will hear when tau occurs. And in the second case, he knows at the very beginning when tau will occur. So I can try to work with a simple hypothesis, and I assume that everything is smooth, that this tau has a conditional density with respect to Ft. And this is written as, if I would like to compute the expectation of function of tau given Ft, I integrate the f with respect to some process, and I call this process the density, the conditional density of tau. I assume that this process exists. Of course, I can give later on many examples where alpha does not exist. So in that case, things are very easy. I should not give the proof of that, but it's an easy proof. You can prove that there exists a probability P star equivalent to P with the radon Nikodym density here on that very large filtration, so that under this new probability P star, tau is independent from tau is independent from Ft. Tau is independent from Ft. And the restriction of P star to F is the restriction of Q to F. Very easy to check. Just to check that 1 over alpha T of tau is a Martingale in the enlarged filtration, and to compute the expectation of a function of tau times. What is unclear?
Line 3, condition 3.
Yes. I define the probability P star on that filtration, a very big one, with a radon Nikodym density 1 over alpha T of tau.
There is
some mistake in formula because the left and the right hand side coincides.
No, don't consider.
Coincides.
I define the expectation star of H2 xt as the expectation on the P of H2 1 over P T of tau xt for xt with ft. I don't see the missing.
one star is.
One
Ah,
star
one star
is,
is
you see,
missing.
line 3.
Ah,
One
line
star,
3.
one star should be.
Yeah, you are.
Should be
So I have P star here is equal to P. Yes, equal to C. Thank you. Thank you. So, and what you can, so as soon as you have the blue line, the point 1, 2, 3 are easy to prove. You have to prove that it's a quite old result now. And what you can prove, it's also very easy. So, first, so S is a P Martingale for the filtration F, for us. So S is a P star F Martingale. And we because P and P star coincide on F. So this is obvious. So now S is also a P star F tau is that filtration martingale. Because sigma tau as a piece I add to F is independent of F. So expectation of something given Ft sub sigma tau is the expectation of the something given Ft. As soon as something belongs to F infinity. So now, this implies that S this implies that I have no freelance geodesic risk for S, since I have a density such that S will be a martingale. S is a P semi-martingale in the filtration G, and with this change of probability in the filtration F, S is this implies that S is a P F tau semi-martingale. The last application is just Girsanov theorem. So now I start with I can climb all these things. S is a P F tau semi-martingale, and there exists a change of probability, so that S is a P star F tau martingale. So I have no freelance with definite risk in that filtration. Not have them. And the same is true for G, because you have this spin. S is a P star F tau martingale, and this implies that S is a P star G martingale. Because G is smaller than F tau, and S is G adaptive. S is G adaptive because S is F adaptive. S is F adapted, and F is included in G. So S is G adaptive. So I have a filter, and F tau is greater than G. So I have some process which is an F tau martingale, which is G adapted. So this process is a G martingale. So the same story in the G. So I do not tell arbitrages, because I have an equivalent martingale measure. I do not tell arbitrages of the first kind. Nevertheless, the wealth of Uri will be greater than our wealth. So I have to write the decomposition of W as a Brownian motion in the F tau filtration plus some drift. And I can do that easily because I just have to do that, and that comes from Girsanov theorem. So you just apply Girsanov theorem and you find this result. The drift, what I call the information drift, is this ratio sigma over alpha. Alpha is the density, and sigma is the diffusion coefficient of the density. This diffusion coefficient exists because the alpha is a martingale in the F filtration. So, due to the predictable rotation theorem, I have the existence of sigma. So, things are easy. Maybe I should say that. Another case which is easy but not very interesting, nevertheless I have to mention it, is the case where all F martingales are G martingales. And don't forget anything, F martingales are G martingales. So the condition in the filtration G is that probability of tau greater than Ft is the probability of tau greater than T given F affinity. You can find many models which satisfy this hypothesis, and in that case, nothing is interesting because everything is obvious. So now we should go to real enlargement of filtration results. So again, here in that talk, I restrict my attention to Brownian filtration. If you can do everything in a non-Brownian filtration, but things are really more delicate. And I just point out one of the difficulties, and I should forget because I should work in the Brownian filtration. So the tool will be what is called the Azema supermartingale, which is defined as Zt equal the probability of tau written on T, strictly written on T, given Ft. So this is the super-martingale, and as the super-martingale, it admits the two-Meyer decomposition. And the other interesting tool is Z tilde T equal probability of tau Ritter equal to T given Ft. So this is the continuous on the right super-martingale and the T written as a martingale minus a predictable increasing process. And the Z tilde probability of tau Ritter equal to T given Ft is not always equal to Ft, to Zt. And in order to be equal to Zt, I need some assumption. And I should do that with this assumption. And usually this thing, so don't look at the blackboard, this thing is sub-martingale minus some optional process. Of course, as soon as you are giving a decomposition which is not the two-Meyer one, this decomposition is not unique. So I have to make precise what is A0T, and A0T is a dual optional projection of the process Ht. And this is a dual predictable projection. This is the definition of the compensator, the dual predictable projection, and this is the optional projection. And I should assume, to make things simple, that tau about f stopping time. If tau about f stopping time, A0 and AP are equal, and I should assume that all the martingales are continuous. So that Z and Z tilde will be continuous and they will be equal. But it's really a restriction. Usually, you have these two decompositions, and in order to answer to my question on arbitrages, this is the decomposition. With this one, you cannot work. So you have to work with that one. So you really have to put your hands in dual optional projection and things like that. This is not very regular. This is also super-martingale, but not very regular. So you cannot apply two-Meyer decomposition immediately because it's not continuous on right. So now I should assume that these two ones are equal, because I made what is called the continuity assumption. All martingales, F martingales, are continuous. And the avoiding assumption, that is, tau avoids the stopping time in the filtration.
The prime is not the right continuous. So this is...
Yes, this is the difficulty. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Zero prime equality. So the notation, and maybe not the best one, but this is notation that you can find in any papers on enlargement of filtration, so I took the same notation. And the important thing is that this small m, or this one, this martingale is positive. Because I assume that tau is a finite, so this small m is just the expectation of A0 infinity. Given Ft, A is increasing process, starting from 0 as any increasing process, so the m is positive. Remember that it will be very important to do that. So now I think I made a lot of assumptions, and the Z tilde T is Zt, and this is Mt minus A P0 or P because these two quantities are equal, mu is equal to m, and everything is nicely done. So before tau, I should look at two kinds of arbitrages because the situation is fully different. Before tau, I am working in that situation. And the situation is fully different before tau and after tau. Why? Mainly because before tau, you don't need any hypothesis on tau in order that martingales remain semi-martingales. It's always true. After tau, you have to do strong hypothesis. So before tau, you have nothing to do, and the result is the following one. Take any f local martingale, you stop this martingale at time tau, this is why there is an x tau, and the upper strict tau is the stop process. So any martingale stop is F martingale stroke is the G martingale, the X hat, plus the integral with respect to the bracket of X and M. The bracket is computed in the filtration F. It's also important because if you are working with jumps, the predictable bracket can depend on the filtration. If you are working with continuous process, the predictable bracket is the same in any filtration. But if you are working with discontinuous processes, you have to play with brackets in G and brackets in F, and that's not easy. So I claim that there is no arbitrage for the first time before tau. In order to do that, I have to find a local martingale such that S times the local martingale is a martingale under the probability P. So I just guess. I have a nice martingale in the filtration G, M hat. M hat is obtained as here. Here it was true for any martingale. So in particular for M. So I write this decomposition for M, and I say, well, I would like a change of probability which is more or less universal, so I should try to find dl equals something dm hat. And the something will be minus L over Z. So the S is your price, it's a ds equals S sigma dw. The S is also a decomposition, and now I just have to compute. So I compute L S tau. S tau is S stop at time tau. First step, integration by parts. Second step, this equality G martingales means that the two sides of the equality are equal up to a G martingale. So this SL is a G martingale because L is a G martingale. So this time disappear. Here I use this decomposition. So it remains only the bracket of S and M. And here I compute the bracket. And here I find a bracket in F, that one. And here it is a bracket in G, because it comes from the integration by part formula in G. So here I have a bracket in F, here a bracket in G. But I am in the easy case, and martingales are continuous, so the bracket in F and the bracket in G are the same. And I find 0 at the end. And you can see just here, on this very simple example, that if we do not have the hypothesis that all F martingales are continuous, here you face a problem to be able to compute the bracket in G in terms of the bracket in F. And that's not so easy, and I do not know any result in the literature.
In this
And
case
that
also,
mistake.
the equation will be with LT minus.
Yes, of course. Here I don't have minus because everybody is continuous. No. But to deal with the minus, it's not the main difficulty. The main difficulty is to deal with the bracket. Or, of course, a simple idea, but again, it was not known in the literature, would be to find a formula like this one, but with correlation process, this bracket. Because this bracket does not depend on the filtration. But up to very recently, no formula like this one was known with that bracket, and Anna and my students succeed to find a formula similar to this one with that bracket. But it's a new result. So now my goal would like to look at a specific class of random times, and the goal is also to look at what happens after tau. And after tau, as I told you, I need some hypothesis that tells me martingales in the filtration F remains semi-martingale in the filtration G. So there are very few cases known in the literature. The cases with the density I presented before, so not exciting, but at least give a lot of examples, and the case of Honestat. So I should deal with the case of Honestat. So I'm not fully, I would say, honest, even if it is a play of words, because I choose a high definition of Honestat. There is a lot of ways to define Honestat. I choose the simplest one, even if it is not immediate to recognize Honestat. I claim that a random time, tau is honest if z tau is equal to 1 This is valid under my hypothesis. If I'm working in a filtration such that all martingales are continuous, and if tau avoids stopping time, tau is an honest time if and only if z tau equal 1. Otherwise, the definition of honest time is that one. Tau is honest and finite if it is the end of an optional set, or if and only if tau on tau smaller than t is tau t on tau smaller than t, where this guy is ft adaptive. To work with this definition is not very useful to succeed to solve the arbitrage problem. I should give examples. Just recall that tau is honest. This is equivalent in my setting to z tau equal 1. And you have now to be confident. I shall give examples, and I shall check that z tau equal 1 so they will be honest. So you can take that as definition even if it is not very clear. So what is for me what was, but now it's no more the case, what was for me surprising, and when I was looking at the book of Delachery, Maisonneuve-Meyer, this is only in French, there is no translation in English, and you know, André Meyer did not work in finance, never, he did not, even if he was able to do that, he was not interested with finance. Nevertheless, of course, there is a counter-example, because in the book, they are speaking about finance. And they claim that they are looking at a specific time, which is honest, and this is this kind of time. So you have the price, delta 1, and you look at the time where the price hits its maximum, over 0,1, or over 0t, or over 0 infinity, depends on what context you are. And of course, so it's obvious that this time is honest, I shall prove that later on. But of course, if you are a trader, or if you invest in the market, if you invest in the market, you would like to have the information when tau occurs. Because immediately we make profit. I don't need any mathematics. It's obvious that if I know in advance, or even if just a clock rings at time tau, I should make arbitrages. It's obvious. Tau is the time where the price reaches maximum. So here I know that the price at the terminal date will be lower. So I short sell this price. If I am here, I know that the price has not reached its maximum. I should buy S as much as I can, and I shall sell it at time tau. The interest rate is flat, so I should make profit. It's obvious. So, André Meyer and others say that everybody can read the English translation. Everybody would like to know when tau occurs, but tau is not a stopping time, so you cannot do that. And then the last sentence is, of course, a joke. This is why we call this time honest. That's not true at all, because the name of honest time was due to Paul André Meyer during the 70s, before that we were thinking about times. Nevertheless, the book was written in the 90s, 92. So, and I should prove, because it's very easy, that if tau is honest, if the market is complete, then I have arbitrages, pure arbitrages, classical arbitrages, before and after tau. And again, that's funny, because I was working on that problem during a long time. With Claudio Fontana and Shigisong, we had found the proof quite long. But nevertheless, we were very happy to have a proof. And the proof will be 2 lines, because in fact, there is something there immediate. So, you remember I had defined M, the small martingale, as a small m martingale, m equals z plus the increasing process AP. That is the definition of M. Z tau is 1. So M tau is Z tau 1 plus something which is increasing, which starts from 0, so something which is positive. So M tau is greater than 1. That's obvious. Now something which is not so obvious, this is why I here I have added tau is not a stopping time, and even tau avoids a stopping time, but in particular tau is not a stopping time. You can prove that this increasing process at time tau is strictly positive with a strictly positive probability. And I need to have that because otherwise, and if tau is a stopping time in the filtration F, probability of tau greater than t given ft will be indicator function of tau greater than t. And I do not take the IP will be 0. So now I have a martingale which is greater than 1 and strictly greater than 1 with strictly positive probability. I am in a complete market, so this martingale is the value of some asset, of some portfolio. This quantity is bounded above because m is positive, so 1 plus integral of phi ds is bounded by 0, below by 0, so the strategy is admissible, so I have an arbitrage. And the arbitrage is easy to compute. I just have to compute n and to find the decomposition of n. So after tau, this is more or less the same thing. I should skip the part after tau. Again, it's immediate, a little bit longer, but it's quite regular. And I should speak about two examples. So again, I assume that the S is the geometric Brownian motion, and I look at the last time where S reaches the level A. So the S goes to 0 when t goes to infinity. This is one of the properties of the geometric Brownian motion. So I have something like that. So there is, let's do that. Yes. So I can define the last time. So this is why there is a sub. The last time where the process reaches the level A. A is smaller than S0, which is 1. So this is well defined. So you can compute the Z. So a Nézi computation proves that the Z is 1 minus the positive part of 1 minus ST over A. You have to use to have this formula that if you have a continuous martingale which goes to 0, then the law of 1 over the supremum of that martingale, sorry, the law of the supremum of the martingale is equal to the law of 1 over U, where U is a uniform random variable. And this is a well-known result. Maybe not so well-known, but easy result. So you can compute the Z. If you have the Z, you can compute the dZ. With the Tanaka will play a role, but you can compute the dZ. You just need the martingale part. The martingale part, the small m is that one. And this is the increasing part. So I get the phi, which is the strategy, the arbitrage strategy. So if I would like to go back to the information drift, I can get information drift and I can check that indeed the information drift is infinity. So another example, the last time where S reaches maximum, this is the example I show you just 1 minute before. This is the example of the last Meyer. S goes to 0, so there is the last time. I assume that all is completely unequal. So last time when S reaches maximum, so you can compute easily just an easy computation on the Brownian motion. You use the independence of the decrement of the Brownian motion. And you find that Zt is S over S star t. S star is the running supremum. So you have S, you can define the dm, so you can find the arbitrage opportunity, and again you can find the information drift. After tau, I mentioned that I need an hypothesis so that W is a G martingale. So again, I should go with the setting of 1 star, and I have to assume that Z tau is smaller than 1. Because if Z tau is equal to 1, we can prove that there are arbitrages and there are arbitrages of the first kind. And this point here. And the arbitrages of the first kind is due to a result of an Ikebalior. If tau is a honest time, the Z can be written in any case as N is a F martingale over N star is the running maximum. So you can see that, and you need that the tau avoids stopping time. And you can check easily that the random variable N at time tau minus 1 is an arbitrage of the first kind. So you have arbitrages of the first kind, you have arbitrages and arbitrages I proved that before, and you have arbitrages of the first kind. So again, the avoiding property is very important. I can prove that there exists random time so that Z tau is strictly smaller than 1, so do not avoid stopping time. But in that case, I should not have arbitrages of the first kind. So again, I should prove that if tau is an honest time, we satisfy Z tau strictly smaller than 1. So this time does not avoid F stopping time. And if I assume that all F martingales are continuous, then I do not have arbitrages of the first kind after tau. And I can find the change of measure very easily. dl equals minus L over 1 minus Z dm. And at written here. You have to use our martingales in the, so there is no tau. So add the tau. So if X is a martingale in the F filtration, X can be written as martingale in the light filtration G plus 2 drift terms, that one and that one. So you are looking for a deflator of the form dl equal L, some kappa unknown dm hat. You use integration by parts formula, and you find that the kappa is 1 over 1 minus z. So it's also something which is funny, because you know as well for before tau, where is my before tau? The general case before tau. That's here. For if tau is honest, you know that you have true arbitrages for honest time. And you do not have arbitrages of the first kind. And you have classical arbitrages, I detect the classical arbitrages, and you have no arbitrages of the first kind. So this means that this guy here is a strict local martingale. It would be a martingale, a true martingale, no Freeland Lagrange will hold. And I know that no Freeland Lagrange does not hold. So this quantity is a G strict local martingale. So it can give a way to produce, not in the Brownian filtration, but in the G filtration, strict local martingales. It's the same here. I have true arbitrages, classical arbitrages after tau. I prove that there is no arbitrages of the first kind, that is, I have a local martingale who can play the role of the deflator. So this deflator must be a strict local martingale in the G filtration. Yeah. And I should end here, yes, with a general result. Of course, I should not prove the general result because 1 hour is not enough. I need a long time. So this result were obtained very recently by Tahir Chouli, Rundeg, and Aksamit, and myself. So they are, I would say, fully general because we have equivalence. So the first equivalent is that one. So here we have to play with the Z tilde and the Z. We are in F, we have no hypothesis on F, no hypothesis on tau. And tau is any random time. Z tilde is that one, Z is that one, and they are not equal. So in order that any process which satisfies non-upper bounded profit with bounded risk, no arbitrages of the first kind in the filtration F, then the stop process verifies the same condition, no arbitrages of the first kind in the filtration G, if and only if this set, Z tilde equals 0 intersect Z minus, this is the left limit of Z strictly positive, is evanescent. That is, all the sections of the set are with measure 0. It's written here sin set because we can prove that this set is included in the graph of the stopping time. The enumerable set, the enumerable graph of stopping time. But the proof is very long, and in the paper we have 30 pages proof in order to get the general case. In the case where X is quasi-continuous on left, we need only 5 pages. This is the general case, which is at least very hard. Maybe there is another proof by Beatriz Acciaccio, Costas Cardaras, and Claudio Fontana, a little bit shorter than our proof, but they just prove, they have a proof which is simpler than our proof, but it's just an existence proof. We have not only an existence proof, we are able to characterize the deflection. So it was in the first paper, and then recently, 2 months ago, Anna Sami proves the same result in a very simple way. She has also the deflator, and the proof of Anna is based on the characterization with the bracket, and it's only 15 pages instead of 30. The bad point, or good, I don't know. One of the difficulties in our proof is that we need optional integrals. That is, we need to be able to integrate an adaptive process with respect to a martingale, which is discontinuous, in such a way that the integral is a martingale. Usually, if you integrate a predictable process with respect to a martingale, you get a martingale, local martingale. And there is a way to integrate, not the traditional one, of course, to integrate adaptive process with respect to a discontinuous martingale in order to obtain a martingale. Of course, there is a specific definition of the stochastic integral. This is called the optional integral. And here, in our paper, we need that. And after tau, if z tau is smaller than 1, we need that because otherwise we have examples where we have arbitrages of the first kind. We do not claim that this is a necessary and sufficient condition. We are not able to do more. So if tau is honest, in order that martingales are semi-martingales. And that condition, because in the fully opposite case, when z tau is always equal to 1, we have arbitrages of the first kind. In between, we don't know. And it can be z tau is strictly smaller than 1, only with a positive probability. I don't think so, but we have to. Then, again, to have the propagation of the non-arbitrage of the first kind between the filtration F and the filtration G. Here it's after tau, and it's S minus what happens before tau. We need that same kind of sin set, except that we have to change 0 into 1, is evanescent. The fact that we have to change 0 into 1 to look at what happens before and after, you can even imagine that here. The decomposition formula is Z before tau. So you see that we have to avoid that Lz is too close to 0. And here, the denominator is 1 minus Z. So you have to avoid that Z is too close to 1. In other words, it's not a proof, but there is an asymmetry between what happens before tau and after tau. This asymmetry exists here. So I should not use the proof. If you are interested, you can find the papers in archive. This, and just would like to mention here, that the case after tau, the case before tau was never studied before, and we were the first to study that case. And Beatriz Acciaccio, Claudio Fontana, and Costas Cardaras, when they have seen the first version of our papers, they have found a nicer proof than ours. But the case after tau was studied in the literature by Im Keller and some Polish guy, associated with, I know that the pronunciation is fully bad, but I am not able to remember the pronunciation. In the case of a Brownian filtration. So here are some references. The references by Shuli and Deng and Nanna and myself. This paper, interesting paper by Shuli, Deng and Ma, about the role of non-arbitrage of the first kind and the problem of maximization logarithm utility. For the Delahaye Maisonneuve, the work of Fontana alone, the work with C.K. Song and Claudio Fontana, the work of M. Keller I was speaking about, and more than 10 years ago. Of course, the book of Jolin about enlargement of filtration, you cannot avoid that book if you are willing to find the result on enlargement of filtration. It's written in French, unfortunately for you. The work of Cadaras, where they study also arbitrage, not arbitrage of cognitive, but arbitrages of the first kind. A nice paper by Ashkan Nikebali and Eckhart Platen about last passage time, which are particular honest time, and also the Platen approach to finance, because the benchmark approach is exactly the benchmark approach is exactly the log optimization problem. So I should stop here. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. So, question, please.
It's just, I don't claim that you can understand everything, but my goal was just that but for me, people working in finance, including you, have to take care at some point about what is the choice of the filtration. In the literature, people take care about the choice, the probabilities, if the market is incomplete, which probability can you use, they try to solve robust problems, a lot of things, but very few people are interested with the information. And for me, so it's important.
You know that I am very interested in real applications. You remember that?
But I think there are, I talked with Marek Luciela about the first problem, and with the two defaults. And I talked with Marek, so you know Marek Luciela, he was at the head of BNP Paribas, and I told him, do you think it is an interesting problem? Because when you are dealing with default, you claim, I have the information about 100 defaults. Yes, maybe I have the information about 100 defaults, and Marek has the information about 200, and the head of Société Générale has the information about also 200, but not the same. So they do not have the same information. So what can we do? So I talked with Marek Luciela about the case where two defaults, because with two defaults I can do the situation. And Marek told me, that's very interesting, but we do not have to restrict your attention to two defaults. We have to work with 100 defaults. I can work with 100 defaults, but for the moment I don't succeed to interpret the result. In particular, to interpret the fact that your price and my price are not the same.
You know, I
So
remember.
so I think there are
was
applications.
an article in Le Figaro on Monique Pontier.
Of course, insider trading.
Yes.
It was a big. Do you know the end of that story?
No.
So Monique Pontier, Axel Corrud and Monique Pontier were the first to look at this kind of problem with an initial enlargement of filtration. So the tau was known in advance. So tau was not tau was S1, the value of the price at time 1. But of course, if you know today the price at the end of the year, you will make arbitrages. It's obvious. From a financial point of view, from a mathematical point of view, there are some work to do. So Axel Corrud and Monique Pontier were studying that problem with a lot of enlargement of filtration and things like that. And they produced a short paper. The title of the short paper was How to Detect Insider Trading. And they present this short note at Compte Rendu de l'Académie des Sciences, because it's a way to be published very soon. So at Compte Rendu de l'Académie des Sciences, there is a journalist who is sitting in the room and who is listening to see what happens in science. And usually they don't take care of mathematics, of course. But he was surprised by the title, How to Detect Insider Trading. So the next day he phoned to Monique and said, are you really able to detect insider trading? Monique said, yes, we are able. Of course, it does some assumption, but in our model we are able to detect insider trading. So in Le Monde is a well-known daily newspaper, there was some lines, two mathematicians are able to detect insider trading. And during the next week, the phone of Monique and Axel was ringing all during the day. All the L'Express, Le Point, Finance, Les Échos, all the journalists were asking them, are you really able? So maybe one line, a short paragraph or full page of two mathematicians are able to detect journalists were unable to understand the amount of filtration the signals had. And the final call, the final one of the call was somebody at not at a very high level, but somebody at a very high level, not the boss, high level, in LACOB. LACOB was at that time some committee in charge to detect insider trading and to punish. It was punished by law. So this man phoned, I don't know quote the name, this man phoned to Monique and Axel and tell them, I would like to meet you, I would like that you explain to me how you are proceeding. And Monique and Axel were very happy because they said, yes, but in exchange will give us some data, because for the moment we do not have data. It was during the 85, something like that, so the data was difficult to obtain. So the guys, yes. So Monique, Axel, and this man met. They talk a lot. And Monique and Axel explained we can detect insider trading, except if the insider hides himself in a nice way, that way. And they explain how you can hide that you are doing insider trading. And 2 years later, this man was recognized to have done insider trading, so he was punished, he went in jail, and he did insider trading exactly the way that he So this is the final point of the story. So this is useful.
Yes, because the typo in Le Figaro, this was equation de délit, for the creation of a crime.
Mm-hmm.
How to detect
Yes, because
a criminal wrongdoing.
yes, insider trading is forbidden by law, so maybe not a crime, but it's finished.
This guy was
Yes.
taken to jail.
yes, or maybe not for a long time, but at least it was finished. Because of course, at the end of LACOB, we had a lot of big information. So,
Thank you. So next time we will have next seminar. You present us the recent progress in term structure interest rate.